Alright, so this last part is a little bit of extra credit. This is a music player I found, and we're not going to recreate much of this, but I wanted to show you just something that, speaking of adding a little bit more pop to your designs, this is something that can set it apart as well. And I touched a little bit on this in one of the last videos where we added something below to add some texture. So you'll notice if you look at the background of this, it's got a little bit of a texture to it, and I want to show you one way to go about that. I want to show you the difference with having that and not having that. So if I draw out a rectangle here, something like that, make sure it's at the top and I can see it. I'm going to go ahead and click on my fill color here. I'm going to come over here to this section here. This is the pattern fill, and I'm going to select this guy right here. And what I want to do is have that be a little bit closer together, so I could say fill. That's pretty much more of what I wanted. So I'll click off that, and now I'm going to go ahead and add another fill for this. So you can have layers of fills as well. And now that one's on the top. If you didn't know, you can also grab these and change their order. They act just like they do in the layers panel. So the topmost layer is the one that you're going to see the most. So if I had red on the top, you'd see that most. Next, you want to select this top layer, and this one is a color layer. So let's go ahead and apply a color to this. And I'm just going to choose something. Oh, it's got a gradient applied, so let's do a gradient. Let's do something a little bit lighter on the top, and with the bottom point selected right here, let's get something a little bit darker. And right now the alpha is 50, so it's already doing what I wanted it to do. If we bring it up to 100, it's more of a solid, and we can bring this side up to 100 as well. So with that, that's generally how you would see it. And then when you start dropping the alpha as a whole, or the opacity as a whole, that texture will start shining through, and it gives it a nice, cool look, like a textured look. Now if you didn't have that, if we just drew out a rectangle, or let's just draw out a rectangle. So let's set the color here, and let's do a gradient just for fun. Do that. We'll do that. So the difference being, so now if I drop the opacity of this, it looks good, it's a nice look, but with the texture it gives it just a little bit more pop. And for this design, that's exactly what you're looking for. It's not that solid color, it's that textured look. And you can get that with a few different textures that are available within Sketch, and that's just one of them. So another option for your designs. And one more icon I wouldn't mind showing you how to recreate is this guy right here. Let's get zoomed in, and you might have an idea of how to do this. We're going to create an oval, so I'll hold down Shift, draw one out, not like that. Let's hit Command D to duplicate that, and just like before, we'll change the color just so we can see. I get really zoomed in here. I'm going to hold down Alt Shift and drag it in so that I can get a thickness to where I want it. I'll keep dragging this in, probably about like that. I'll hold down Shift and I'll get both of these guys selected and subtract, just like we've done in the past. Now we're going to do another Boolean operation, but this time we're going to draw a rectangle over the top first. So you really only need to start lined up with the top here and the left side. You can go further if you want, but no need to if you don't have to. Keep drawing until you hit the Smart Guides again to show you the center points right here and then down at the bottom. Or not down at the bottom, but the halfway point. So with that selected, I'm going to hold down Shift. I got my ring selected. I've got my square selected here. Let's subtract. And that's kind of weird. I think maybe my square isn't on top of my oval. So let's make sure. Yep, there we go. So let's get our rectangle, drag it above that combined shape. Let's get them both selected now. Hit subtract. So now I have that. What I want to do now is draw out a rectangle. So insert, shape, or not a rectangle, but a triangle. I'll hold down Shift, draw out something smallish. We're going to get that rotated over this way. Let's get it 90 degrees. I'm going to unlock the little lock here in the inspector. Make this just a little bit, it's still in rotate mode. Let's get it back to 90 degrees. And if you're ever having problems getting it there, you can just go into the inspector. Mine's at 91. Let's just do 90 and hit enter. So click out of that. So now let's shorten this up a bit because that triangle is pretty small. go with that. Let's put this right on top. And actually make this. You can actually make this a little bit bigger. Might have to play with it a bit. So now we have that for the most part. What we're going to do next, just so we can have some consistency with the coloring, I'm going to hold down Shift and get both of these guys. I'll come up here and select Union. Now Union, let's get rid of that. Notification with Union, it's going to be all one shape now. You still have the option to go in and make adjustments if you need to, but when you apply colorings now, it's not going to apply it to just a triangle and just the ring. You can apply it all as a whole. And it looks like, for the most part, like the rest of the designs in this music player, it uses a gradient. So let's go to gradient. Let's apply that yellowish look. So the top point is selected. Let's get something nice and bright here. Let's go to the bottom and get something a little more brownish. Something like that. And I think maybe something just a little bit more yellow at the top. Let's try one more time. Or we could just drag this over. So a little bit brighter. And lastly, one thing I've learned when I was doing the other ones, it's got a bit of a drop shadow, but it's a brownish drop shadow. So with that selected, I'll come over here to my shadows, and I want Y value, which is already there. Let's get something kind of brownish. So you can select that here, like so. You can make it darker, or you can come up here and select it, color pick it. I'm just going to grab it from right there, and what I can do is drop the alpha down just a little bit, get it a little bit darker, I think is what I want. Something like that there. You can bring the alpha up and down and just kind of test it out a bit, see what you like, and I'm happy with that. That gives it just a little bit more detail and have it stand out a bit. So there you go, that's how you do that icon there. And I really like the icons, the gold icons in here. I think it can get old kind of quick, but I do like it initially upon seeing it. Alright, that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you guys got a lot of good stuff out of this. Next up, we're going to talk about your music player and how you're going to go about designing this and some of the requirements for that. So I will see you there.